Hello everyone, Arun Vanagopal of WNYC here. It's my pleasure to introduce the Center for Traditional Music and Dances series, Beat of the Boroughs, NYC Online. This online series features over 50 of New York's leading traditional instrumentalists, dancers, singers, poets, and more. From Mongolia to Haiti, Colombia to the Gambia, among many others, they remind us how the strength of our country lies in its embrace of diversity and immigration. We want to celebrate these remarkable members of the New York community in these challenging times. So please enjoy these 50 programs, share them with your friends, and spread the word. Enjoy the show.
My name is Buhari Naibi, aka Baba Allah.
Hello, happy people. My name is Ola Kute.
On your short here, I am Alhassan Yawuza. African music and dance, let me say African cultural heritage and art evangelist. I teach music and dance, and I've done that across the world to many institutions, to companies, and also to individuals. I've been the first person who invented Afrikiki music and dance, which is a development of African traditional dance. And then I've also been a pioneer of contemporary dance in Ghana. I started my dance education anyway. I was brought up in the dance. I started in a chief palace, and from an area called Chobu Hilltop in the northern part of Ghana. So this was how I started. And as small as I was, how did I learn it? I saw the elderly people doing it. I couldn't dance with them because I was too small. So I decided to look around. I don't know how I got the inspiration, but I felt that I could do it. Still, I don't know where I got the drive from. I went around trying to substitute the big drums they're using to milk tins. So I went around to collect the empty milk tins and then start to test the beat. Trying to factor the real rhythm into the milk tin. So in this, we have been around, let me say, 7-8 years. So I call my peers around, I tell them, listen, let's do this. So I shared the milk tins among them, I taught them how to play, and then I started to also, emulate the dance movement I saw at the chief palace. So this was how I took over. And then my peers, whenever there is an occasion, traditionally, the host or the program owner or the event owner, like wedding ceremony or funeral, they will bring cola and some amount of money to the drumming chief's palace to go and request performance. As small as I was, I didn't know how it is done, how artists are invited to come and perform at a wedding or at a funeral or any occasion. So I remember the first performance we had. It was a wedding ceremony. They invited the big guys to come and perform. So myself, I was not going to school. So I just went around to call my peers. Some of them had already left for school. And the reason I was not going to school was that I was staying with my grandmom, and my grandmom will go to work and leave me behind home, you know. So I went around, I couldn't find my peers. I had to wait till they returned from school. So I waited and they returned, and I told them, listen, there is a wedding here. I saw the big guys performing. They just finished the first round. And then they are coming back in the evening. So let's get ready. So they were excited. That's at the age of like 7 to 8. And then when we saw that the big guy started, and then I called them, let's go. So we went with our milk tins. We were like adjacent to the big guy's stage. We started drumming. Before we realized, the audience left all the big guys and they came and surrounded us because they saw that we were kids who are trying to do something, and we could emulate what they were doing exactly. But the magic was we were using milk tins instead of the real drums. So one of the big guys, you know, I can remember their names. The owner of the big group was called Sule Imoru, who happened to be my uncle. And within the group there was a guy called Tiger. He was also a dancer. He was very close to me. So they realized that if they don't take me from the group, then we will end up, you know, putting them down, like dominating them. And when you are dancing, in Africa, people come around to show appreciation by putting money on your forehead. So, in the end of the show, we got more money than the big guys. We got more money and more, you know, attention than the big guys. So here is the case. They have to go back and re-strategize because we were all in the same area, in the same community. How can they do what? Dominate us. They couldn't because there was already attention on us, and one of the sub-chiefs said, no, I want to take care of these little kids because they have a potential and we don't have to let it go. So the big guys can have their group and now take care of the little ones. So one of the sub-chiefs took over. The money we collected that day, it was well enough that they have to use it to buy a big drum for us, like that one there. It's called Brekete, Gong Gong. So we didn't know what we were doing. I remember the area with my grandmother started, you know, getting fans, and they used my grandmother's name for me. They say Waljira Yanga, which means because my grandfather had 4 wives. He was a chief, so he got 4 wives, and my grandmother happened to be the first one. And the first one title is Waljira. Waljira means like the chief wives. Chief's wife means the hair of the chief's wife. So, and they started calling her Waljira. Waljira Yanga means the Waljira grandson. That was, you know, so wherever my grandmother is going, they say, Waljira, where's your son? Waljira Yawuza. Waljira Yawuza. Waljira Yawuza. So, and the next step was they used my name to create the dance because they wanted, what they saw was surprise. It has never happened in the entire kingdom. You know, so, and they started making a song using my name. Then they say, then they'll respond, Yawuza Paya. They say, Imoro will take the dance, the Jera dance lead, and Yawuza will come and complement it. Because Imoro was the leader of the big group. And then I was the leader of the small group. So then they created the song within the community. So, which is, and normally in African dance, we have what we also call politics, but we will come to that. I will talk about that. But these are some of the political songs, that they sing in between to create. They also use that to create awareness of what is happening, so that people in the community may adjust, or whoever the cap fits, he may readjust himself because he know that this cap that is designed this way fits his head. So this was how they used to create the awareness, just to motivate us. But the big group was not satisfied, because they know that this also involved financial strength, because the more you go to shows, the more you get something in your pocket, even though that was not the main purpose of it. But you also get something to feed your family. Especially in our area, musicians were not supposed to perform. Like, musicians were not supposed to do work in the area I come from. But that one too is also a whole topic. They are supposed to keep the art, the tradition going on. They are the wheels of the tradition, and the oil at the same time that breathes the whole community. So normally the drummers and the musicians, the dancers were not supposed to have farm, to go to farm, because farming was the main occupation in the area. And the musicians and the dancers are not supposed to go to farm. They are supposed to maintain the culture of the people. But here is the case, gradually as the world keeps changing, it becomes like source of also, income, and financial, burden. So this was our obstacles, because the elderly people, they have more responsibility. They have wives, they have girlfriends. We didn't know what to do with money. When you get money, you only take it to your parents, then you put it down and start giving you something small for your daily upkeep. Yeah, or if you want candy, then they give you. But the elderly people, they have girlfriends, they have wives, especially in traditional area. Before you get to like 20 years, you might have like 2 children or 4 if you want. So this was the obstacle that came in between the small group and then the big group, my uncle's group. So the strategy they took was overwhelming, because I didn't have idea. So they had a program in one of the colleges around the vicinity. They were invited. So they planned that my friend Tiger should come and then bring me. If they take me out of the group will die. I didn't know. I did not have idea. So Tiger was the one who teach me how to play football, soccer. So I was very sorry. I can say I'm still. I used to be one of the best soccer player at that time. So Tiger was my role model. He used to train me, and then he came and told me that, hey, you know what? Today I want to take you to a show. And I said, which show? And then he said, okay, we are having a big show and you should come. I said, are you sure? Will you allow me? And they said, yes. He said, come on, you can go and get it. I said, I don't have costume. He said, don't worry, I'm going to make you a costume overnight. And I asked him, where is it happening? He said, in the college. And then I asked him, have you told my grandmother? He said, I shouldn't worry, he's going to see her right now. So this guy, he told me I shouldn't worry. So he went and prepared the costume overnight. Small Bamaya Loma, we call it Loma, means Bamaya costume. And then the following day, when I was going, I said, how can I go and perform with this big man? was thinking, contemplating, and said, I don't know there is a dispute. So, so Tiger made me the costume, and they took me to Tamale Training College, which is acronym TATCO. So we went to do the performance. On that very day, I got a scholarship. They were taking me from Tamale to Cape Coast, which is about, let me say, 6,000 miles. So, and my pictures were everywhere. Just one show, my pictures were everywhere. And my other uncle, who was also a training college teacher, I mean, he was still under training. He was also attending that school. Currently, he's in Atlanta. He bought my pictures and then he took it and he was showing around. A lot of people were selling my pictures, and then and my grandmother was like, "What is happened to her grandson?" So we returned home because when I got a lot of money, and they brought the money like this to my grandmother. My grandmother said, "What is going on?" He said, "The dance." My grandmother said, "The dance, do they pay such money for dance?" He said, "No, they give to Yawuza like this." This is appreciation money. He said, "From where?" He said, "From TATCO." My grandmother said, "What is going on? Dance from dance?" Because they didn't know that dance is a source of, like income. You can get a source of income through dance as a then. So this happened a couple of times. So the big guys, gradually, as child as I was, they started taking me to travel from Tamale to Boku, from Tamale to Kumasi, from Tamale to Accra, from Tamale to Cape Coast. So I was just traveling around until one time I was. So all along I was not even in school. So until one time we had a performance. I can remember that was 1992, just before Ghana first election. The political parties started to invite us. And when they come, they said they want the Fulani group. Because when I was a child, I was like a Fulani because the way I was slim and I was a little bit fair. So, and they always said, "We want the Fulani group. That small boy Fulani. We want this group." So we end up we end up taking all the performers from all the political parties. So whenever the MPP has a performance, they will come and look for the Fulani group. When NDC has a performance, they will come and look for the Fulani group. When CPP they will come and look for the Fulani group. PHP, they will come and look for the Fulani group. So the last time, on our last show, there was this man, Alhaji Yaya Idi, of a blessed memory. He was one of the big contractors in Tamale. He saw me as I was dancing and exiting. He asked them to call me back to the high table. So and they brought me back. He asked me, hug me, and I hugged him. and then he was very happy, because I danced the traditional dance that he loved. And he asked me, "Which school do you go to?" And I told him, "I'm not in school." He said, "What? What's the problem?" And I said, "I don't know. He has to go and ask my grandmother." And he said, "Where's your?" And they said, "Where's your grandmother?" And then he called one of the college educators. His name is called Mustafa Ali. He was former foreign minister of Ghana. And then he asked him, "Please go after this program, go with this guy, go to his house, go and find the grandmother and tell him that we are putting him to school tomorrow. He has a potential." So the following morning, I was in the house and they drove these big cars into the house like three. And because I was living in the chief's house, all of them started preparing for war. They just come out because they were having chieftaincy conflicts. So they thought that was what is happening because this man is from the other side. And they started calling each other around. And by the time they realized they were already standby, people are on standby holding their weapons, to see what happened. And these guys came down and walked into the house and went and greeted my father. My grandfather told them that, okay, what brought you here? And they explained, they said, wow, then this is good news. And they called my grandmother. My grandmother came and they explained to her. He said, oh, and my grandmother started singing. He said he didn't know that children too have like divinity in them, because many people, did not want to allow their kids to do this because they think it's useless. But he didn't know how I got the inspiration from. He couldn't stop me too. Now he has started to see what was driving me into it. So the former foreign minister and the man's Alhaji son called Mr. Lamin, they took me to the nearest school, primary school. I went to the school. The following year, they have to jump me. I don't know how you call it. They have to, instead of class 4, they took me to class 5. They saw that I was smart. and then the following year, they had these intercultural competitions, cultural music and dance competitions. They also have sports activities. And they also have like SIF march, like every Independence Day, the students go to the Independence Square of Ghana and they march. We call it Police Park. So when we went to the intercultural music and dance competitions, for the first time, I won the cup for the school. And we went to the footballers, school sports activities, football, soccer. I was the one who scored the winning goal. They carried me like this and they were dragged from the park to the school. The headmistress brought me up on the stage and said he doesn't know the kind of person I am, but he wants the whole school to pray for me. And from then, I'm not paying school fees. That's all, because I've done a lot for the school. That was just primary school. So, and then when it was SIF March too, like today, all the people will go and parade and go and march different schools, and there's also competition because they will select the best. So when we came out, because I used to dress very neat and clean, and then so when they said we should march, when I was marching to, by the grace of God, I was selected to lead the march too. I lead the march, and when we went to the general one, my school win again, because I was able. I don't know how I incorporated the dance into the salute. There is a part that you salute. So I salute and I slide. When I slide and I came back and I look back, I saw the step that they were picking. So I jumped like this and I picked it. So, and I started marching. The whole people were just jubilating and shouting and shouting and shouting. They've never seen that because they didn't know I'm a dancer. So, so I was able to incorporate that. So my school won again. The following year, we won again. And then I didn't have money to proceed again to junior high school. I didn't know the junior high school authorities were also observing me. So I was just in the house sleeping, and one of my colleagues ran to me and said, "Look, listen, the schools have been looking for you." And I said, "Which school?" They said, "Bishop Junior High School." And this was a school for the, how do they call the expatriate, and then the Christian mission school. It was a Roman Catholic school. And if you are not rich, your child cannot go there. You can't even pass through the fence. Dog can even bite you. Or watchman will tell you, "Hey, my friend, where are you going?" He said, "They were scared you can't even go there." So I was there, and the guy came because his father was rich. But we were colleagues, in school, and we played soccer to together. So by then they had already started school, So I was sleeping, and he came and said, "Yawuza, what's wrong with you? The school is looking for you." And I said, "Which school?" Me, I didn't choose any school because I don't have money to proceed. And they said, "They are looking for you. Get up. The sports master is looking for you." And I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yes." And he told me that tomorrow I should come. I said, tomorrow? And they said, yes. I said, okay. The following day, I didn't go. I was shy. I said, no, because I don't want to go and embarrass myself. Because I don't want any embarrassment. I know the security will not even allow me. So I went, and then I didn't see anybody because I was standing a distance, and then I left home. I was there, and the teacher himself came to my house, and then asked me to come to the school. I went to the school in my local dress. I didn't have uniform, and they took me to the headmistress, and they said, okay, there is the guy they've been looking for, and they took my information and said I should go and bring my parents. I said, okay, I only have my grandmother with me. So when I went, and my grandmother said the appropriate thing to do is to go back to Alhaji Idi. So I went back, and he said, no, he's going to send some people to come and take me. And they picked me in their jeep. We went there. Then the headmistress stood up and said, you know, where are you coming from? All these big men. And I said, yes, they are my guardians. He said, so the headmistress was overwhelmed to see them because these were the, you know, big authorities in the region. And they asked what they can do. And they said, oh, Yawuza only needs school uniform. They should just get him school uniform and that's it. We will provide him books and all. So from there, I came there and they asked for school fees. Then they said, no, I'm not paying school fees. So this was how I got another scholarship. And they were also having a project, a building project. And they had a Commonwealth ceremony every year. On this ceremony, I told my friend, who is a flutist, and one who was a drummer, I told him that I want to surprise the school. I came on that day, and they gave us the opportunity. I performed. I danced the Bamaya, and the dance I danced, they were kings and chiefs and sub-chiefs and all those queen mothers. When I performed, the money I got, it was more than enough to complete their project. And they said, okay. Then the imam came and the pastor too came. You know, it was a Catholic school. Then they did a lot of prayers for me. They came and squat. You know, they called me. I came back and I squat and they prayed for me and do all this Catholic stuff for me. So I got the blessing. So I attended the school throughout. Upon my finishing, I think a year before I finished, the director of the National Dance Company, former called Niyate, Professor Niyate. So, and then he also saw me on television. And he said, no, he has to look for this small boy. So he found me, and by then I had 1 year to complete the junior high school. He led them, brought me to the Accra. So I came to Accra and I was dancing with the National Dance Company. I was very small, like the age of 12 to 13 years. So I was with the National Dance Company, and then when school reopened, then they sent me back. Then within 1 year, I was able to complete. So I completed, and they brought me back final to Accra. And they initiated, the Dutch government and then the National Dance Company, they initiated a contemporary dance school called Noyam. So that was where they pushed me. Niyate said, no, this guy, he needs to be educated in the art because I see he can do something. So, and there I was the smallest among the guys. And they went around and selected, you know, good dancers from the country or from all the regions. And every week they will do audition and keep on selecting, shortlisting till they get the final 12 who will, you know, go through it. So that was where my contemporary life began. Contemporary music and dance life began. So we took it as pioneers, and we had teachers all over the world who came to teach us and mentor us. And then after that, I don't know, by the grace of God, some of the teachers wanted to use me in their choreography, and they started inviting me all over. So, and some of the trips, Niyate would say, no, this guy is not mature enough to go. So he said, okay, wait, when you get to this age. So I end up, I think among us, I was the only person who was able to just travel on my own. From then till now, and we had long studies, and we did the course for like 4 years, and then give back to the community 3 years. So I returned back to the community, and then I give them what I have to give them. And then I realized that no, in the system there are many good dancers, good musicians, but who don't get the opportunity to go into the National Dance Company. But what will their life be? So I decided to form my own group. And Ola was one of them. And we used to perform a lot. And everybody liked us because we used to go to competitions and we win. We used to go to the French Cultural Center. They used to organize competition, Alliance Française. We go to the Goethe Institute, and then also British Council. So I taught them the contemporary dance. My group, this guy, how fat he is, if you see him, how he used to use the body, you won't believe it. Yeah, he could do it, and people love it because they can see that the precision is there. But how can you see like a pregnant person, a pregnant man dancing with all this precision? So we used to perform very well. And then Annette himself, my former boss, I remember our first performance at the British Council. I don't know if you've heard of Professor Nketia. Professor Nketia, he and then Mauro Buku and Kwame Nkrumah, they initiated the African studies. Professor Nketia saw the show and he said no, he was not expecting such a perfection. And then he invited me into his house, to his library, his study room. He blessed me and he gave me certain kind of books to read. And he said, have you seen this room? I never bring people here, but you've touched my heart. And I'm going to be a life patron of your group. And from then, he told me certain things, I can't say it, because I took it as motivation, but I don't want to say it in public. and it's so nice, which also motivated me, and I'm happy that I understand it very well, because for me, I took it as a motivation, and the rest I leave it to the universe and God to carry me. And I've seen it, because though that it has carried me, the light. I've seen the light. So I'm so happy that I got connected to such people, and they've seen. I didn't know when people used to talk that I can dance, I do this, I don't say it because I don't know how it means. So gradually, as I used to go around the world teaching and performing, and I remember 2018, I came here with a group, and we toured from East Coast to West Coast, performing and teaching schools, and then also theaters, and then a lot of stuff. And I was traveling. I never want to stay outside, but there was a reason why now I choose to come and stay in the United States as immigrant, which degolastically and cocolastically fit into this program. So you can see the journey. So I would say maybe God wanted me to come here for a purpose, to continue sharing to the outside world, because I always say no, what we have, the materials and all the ingredients, they are in Ghana. So all the monies I used to make around the world, I used it to build a cultural center where people, students and researchers can pass by to have a beautiful place to sleep, lay their head and dream well, and dream Africa well. And then when they break, they have a place that we can do our workshops. We have a big stage that we can do our workshops. They can also interact and make friends with the communities. Instead of going to the huge big hotels, they should rather come and mingle with the indigenous community. Then you will know, then you will be able to get access to your indigenous research, get the right information. You are not in Novotel and every day is formal. No, sometimes you have to be informal in order to get the right thing. So this is what I used to do. Students from all over the world and professors, and we always have a tremendous result, So certain events also happened, and I decided that okay, Now I've given a lot. We have the repertoire. I built a big repertoire with the group back, and then I leave them. And I remember when I went for my visa, the counselor asked me, "Okay, my brother, we've heard of your group. So now that you are leaving Ghana, who is going to take care of your group?" So I was just there, and I was there, and she keep asking me. So I told her that, okay, I want to answer her, but can I ask just a by the way question? And she said yes. And I asked, okay, I believe she came here into this position because she got trained, right? And she said yes. And I said, so before her, someone was here, right? And she said yes. And I said, after her, someone is here, right? And she said yes. And then I asked why. She said, yeah, she got trained. I said yes. I trained my people to be independent, so that in my absence, the show can still go on. She said, wow. And I asked him, okay, so if I told her that, so if you like, on my send-off party, you can join us. And she asked, and I give her the address, and she and she saw it, but then my website was active, and she saw the center. She said, what? And I said, yes. So it can be empty. So they are there. I trained them to be independent. Someone trained me to be independent so I can move around the world. And she said, perfect. And she gave me my visa. She tell me, so come back at 2 o'clock. So I went by and I grabbed my thing. So I believe that me being immigrant in the United States is a purpose, because when I came here, my brother was already there, you know, and some of the dancers and the musicians. So that's why the Wuza Wuza from Ghana is still there, Wuza Wuza in US here, and now we are reunited. The Spirit brought us together. The Spirit reunited us for a purpose, to share for the American community and also to our other immigrant communities, you know, to, you know, so that people can get the cultural understanding. You know, when people get the cultural understanding, then you see that it makes life more easier and more tolerant, more respect. Because if we understand that respect is reciprocal, we will realize that cultural is the number one, is the bedrock of our humanity. Coming from, you know, Africa, we don't joke with our culture, and our culture have substances that respect or give credit to humanity. And I believe America too is like that. America has, because I understand my culture better, when I get into American society, I understand American society better, because I know some of the norms. I put effort to understand them, because when you understand someone's culture, you will get to respect them. And so I always disagree with people who say, hey, you are in America, so do this. And I said, no. America, don't paint America black. Don't look at America negative. America is not negative. If it's negative, it will never be number one in the world. You are, if you go into the society of other people, respect it like the way you would prefer others to respect you. Your tradition. So this is what my culture taught me. My music and dance taught me to be disciplined. It tells me that when the drama strike, it means attention, 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 attention. The drama more play do, it means that step, then step. If they play do, you can't do this or start. No, it's indiscipline. So this is what my drama taught me. And my dance taught me how to be obedient, how to move. It means that when you get into a society, you should know when to talk and when to shut up. So if I'm on the stage and the drama is not saying anything, I'm not saying anything. Because the drama is my conductor. The drama is my teacher. Until he say, to, and then I do this. Or say, and then I do this. You see? So there are a lot of substances that if time allows us, we will get to, you know, explore. But let me just show my appreciation for this opportunity on behalf of my people. Today I'm here with Hola, I'm here with Esther, I'm here with Babala, and they have been very, very cooperative. We faced a lot of challenges, but we thank God that our cultural and tradition, or let me say the African cultural heritage and whatever it involves, guide us whenever we have misunderstanding or any challenges. We go back to our culture. Because if I say I'm going to use my religion, his religion, he's going to go his way. He's going to go his way. So you see what culture does? Our culture brought us together. That's where we find our peace. That's where we find our unity. But today what we're going to do is, I'm going to give you a dance called Kpanlogo demonstration. Kpanlogo is from a traditional area called the Gan, or you can call it, Gan is the broad name, but it's divided into different districts. We have the Tishi, we have the Nongwa, and we have the Calabar area, and we also have so many of them. So, but they all perform Kpanlogo and some other dances. And Kpanlogo is a dance that was created by a man called Oton. And Oton, and he got a name attached to it, which was influenced by the former president of the United States called Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, right? Abraham Lincoln, I think after then were very, very popular. So the guy who created the Kpanlogo name is called Oton. Then they add the Lincoln, Oton Lincoln, because of the creativity involved. So you see how the one is. So and Kpanlogo was created in the late 50s, let's say early 60s. And there was a big controversy about it because the traditional and the indigenous people didn't want to accept it, but the youth were very excited about it, like Azonto today. When the guys are doing Azonto in front of the other people, they say, "Hey, Joe, my friend, what are you doing there?" They were best, especially the Agema will say, "My friend, what are you doing there?" You see, and the government will say, "Hey, I'm Sonny Manamba." He said, "If you don't live there, you see." So that was how Kpanlogo was about. Kpanlogo came with so many controversies. But the director at the National Dance Company, Professor Niate, who discovered me, he said, "No, you have to let the dance be." He was very stubborn, like a positive stubborn guy. He said, "No, let the dance be," because he also had the Western experience, So I think he also got a part of his dance education here in the state. So he said, "Listen, you guys don't understand what's happening. These guys trying to introduce something. So if you don't understand it, what we do is let's organize seminars." They went through a lot of seminars until finally Kpanlogo came to be. So eventually the youth won with their exuberance, and then they won, and then they say, "Okay, so now we will leave it." So Kpanlogo does not have like a systematic arrangement. There are so many movements, freestyle movement involved. So today, this is what I'm going to explain. Kpanlogo became social dance. It's not a traditional dance, but as time goes on, it becomes a tradition because you started it. People pass, people come and take over. So it's end up being a traditional dance from recreation to traditional. Many children are born today knowing Kpanlogo was brought from their ancestors, like their great-great-grandfathers. But this is the education we got. This is how Kpanlogo came into being. So the movement in the Kpanlogo, what brought the controversy was the twisting of the waist, the hips, and then the backasos, especially the women, and the interaction between it. So the old men didn't want to see that. But as time goes on, with the help of freedom, Ghana's freedom and justice, and then a little bit legal support, it came to be like traditional legal laws and then understanding. So some people had to compromise. So that's why Kpanlogo has no formula, because it's supposed to be a solo dance. But now they do it, collectively. You can do it in group and you can also do it solo. So today I'm going to give you some movement from Kpanlogo dance. And Kpan means a rope. Kpan means a rope. The rope that connected you and I. So this rope, literally, I always try to use images. Trying to incorporate my literature into it. And then I see that, this rope is an abstract rope. So that is the Kpan. And logo means twist. So Kpanlogo, the twisted rope that connected you and I. And what is this twisted rope that connected you and I? It's the umbilical cord. So that was why when the controversy came, nobody was able to do what? Cut off this rope. Because it's natural. So today I'm going to give you some steps of Kpanlogo. So let's Kpan and logo. And we have a song that goes Kpanlogo logo. Logo ligi, mao. So let's logo ligi and mao. So some movement of Kpanlogo.